I have 40% of my body covered in scars now.
What was supposed to be a minor plastic surgery procedure turned into a major medical nightmare when a young woman became infected with flesh-eating bacteria.
In a 13 Investigates exclusive, Darcy Spears talks to the patient who says it was a combination of a doctor and a delayed response that nearly killed her.
23-year-old Ashley Cope tries not to dwell on the past, but when she's left alone with her thoughts, regret always creeps in.
You know, I go back to that day that I went and wish that I didn't go.
She went to VIP plastic surgery for what was supposed to be a simple fix of a complication from a previous breast enhancement. The result, far from simple.
I have 40% of my body covered in scars now, so that's what I got instead.
Ashley is suing Dr. Christopher Corsandi for malpractice and neglect. Medical records cited in her lawsuit described the deformity she needed to fix. Matthew Hoffman is her lawyer.
She had what was referred to as a double bubble. It was a failed breast implant.
The implant on one side had slipped down. Dr. Corsandi, who put the breast implants in, recommended liposuction and a fat graft to fix the flaw.
It was going to be in his office, and it was going to be a minor procedure.
His office on Sunridge Heights in Henderson is not a surgical center.
He said that it didn't need to be in a center, that they do it all the time, so of course I trusted my doctor.
But shortly after the procedure on November 26, 2019, Ashley became violently ill, vomiting repeatedly and in severe pain.
I just still kept getting worse, more and more. The pain was just unbearable.
According to the lawsuit, she was told to come see Corsandi the next day. He gave her nausea medication and liters of IV fluids, but she continued vomiting at his office.
I don't really remember much after that.
What happened after that made things worse, according to the lawsuit. Corsandi sent Ashley to the ER at Green Valley Ranch.
He called down there for us.
Okay.
And said that he would call down there for us so we can get in and get out as soon as possible.
The ER at Green Valley Ranch is an extension of Henderson Hospital, which is part of the Valley Health System.
She ends up at the ER at Green Valley. She's diagnosed as septic.
But she was in septic shock for a specific reason, which doctors failed to find, according to the lawsuit. It says there was no documented exam of her surgical site, the lower back where the liposuction was.
I realized it. I saw the marks on her first.
The marks of what turned out to be necrotizing fasciitis, also known as flesh-eating bacteria. The lawsuit says it most likely came from an unsterile environment or improperly sanitized equipment at VIP plastic surgery. With that rapidly devastating infection, every second of every minute of every hour matters because time equals flesh.
And she's held there for approximately 9 hours. 9 hours.
The extensive spread throughout Ashley's body resulted in multiple organ failure and eventually massive tissue loss.
Many in the community don't realize that these freestanding clinics are a captive extension of the hospital they're affiliated with.
That's a big concern for attorney Matthew Hoffman. He points out that the ER at Green Valley Ranch is just 1 mile away from St. Rose Hospital, but 8 miles from Henderson Hospital, where Ashley was sent, despite there being no available beds in the intensive care unit.
And so we have questions as to why. When a mile up the road is a full-fledged hospital with a burn unit, they could treat flesh-eating bacteria. And from what we've seen, they weren't even contacted.
The lawsuit alleges that may be a violation of federal law, the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act. In addition to Dr. Corsandi, medical staff at the ER at Green Valley Ranch and Henderson Hospital, as well as the facilities themselves, are named in the lawsuit and charged with failure to provide proper and timely care and treatment.
If you can't stabilize or admit a patient, you have to transfer them out to a higher level of care. You can't hold them hostage until your parent hospital has an opening.
making him question whether the facilities were prioritizing profit over patient care. A lawyer for Henderson Hospital and Green Valley Ranch Emergency Department said, due to patient privacy laws and the pending legal action, we cannot provide specific comments on the care and treatment provided. But he said evidence will prove their actions were appropriate and timely in addressing unique medical issues, adding, we extend our sympathy for the patient's situation and our hope for her full recovery. The lawsuit says Ashley never should have been sent to Henderson Hospital because it simply wasn't equipped to care for her.
I mean, they said that it's a possibility she wouldn't make it. That's kind of where they were leading us.
If she did survive,
They told me she would lose all her limbs. I can't even believe that was considered medical care. It was horrible.
When did you realize you had to take matters into your own hands?
When they gave up on her.
the Cope family was determined to get Ashley out of Henderson Hospital and finally succeeded with help from an out-of-state family member who had a personal connection at UMC. They sent a trauma team to transfer her with an operating room on standby.
I woke up at UMC. I knew that something was wrong, but I didn't know exactly what. I didn't expect it to be that bad. It looked like I had gotten attacked by like a shark.
Ashley would spend the next 4 months in a UMC hospital bed, undergoing therapy and countless surgeries.
Those 4 months didn't just feel like 4 months. It felt like years in there.
And it's still not over.
I still have to go and get the procedure done that Dr. Corsandi originally started that caused the infection. It didn't get fixed.
She also still has more surgeries in her future to deal with the scarring and nerve damage, which keeps her in constant pain.
Well, this is the smallest scar I have. I have 40% of my body that look like that as well. You know, and it's hard because I'm like 23. I should be going out, starting my future career, and reaching new milestones that all my other friends are capable of meeting. And unfortunately, that's not my case.
Ashley's case is one of several ongoing malpractice actions against Dr. Corsandi. 13 Investigates discovered he's being sued for severely burning a patient's abdomen with a laser during liposuction and for wrongful death in the case of a 46-year-old woman. She went to him for surgery on her nose, eyelids, and eyebrows, and liposuction on her face and neck. She died the next day. Both cases are set for trial next year. Corsandi's attorney said the health and well-being of his patients is paramount, but he's been advised not to talk about anything due to patient privacy concerns under HIPAA. In answers filed in court, he denies any allegations of wrongdoing, stating he met the standard of care and did not cause harm to patients.
In a third lawsuit, another plastic surgeon in the Valley is suing Corsandi for defamation. The doctor claims he's the victim of a smear campaign by Corsandi and his common-law wife, who was also his office manager. She allegedly posed as a patient, using multiple fake accounts to post terrible reviews of Corsandi's competitor on Yelp and Google.
The posts have been deleted and the case is headed to mediation in December. As for Ashley, she's trying to regain trust in the medical system she'll be stuck in for years to come, battling fear every time she walks through a doctor's door.
Just because of like everything that happened, could it happen again?
Darcy Spears, 13 Investigates.